So, okay, I want to move on to our last showcase, and we'll turn this over to Jim Conrad at Moody Aviation. And right now, I just can't say thank you enough for Moody's help and support in making this conference run as well as it has. Jason Floyd in the background there that we don't see is handling all the tech stuff and moving this stuff so that it all shows up. And it's been really, really great to work with you guys. And Jim and I will come back on at the end as we wrap stuff up. So Jim, go ahead with your update.
Great, thanks so much, Glenn, and really appreciate all the work that you and your team have put into even making this possible in this COVID timeframe and transitioning to online once again. And agreed, Jason, thanks for all your help. You're doing a great job. Really appreciate your teamwork. Well, it's a privilege to be able to share a little bit about what God is doing at Moody Aviation. And Glenn, thanks for the time. I have the privilege to serve as the program manager at Moody Aviation. And we have an amazing team and great students to be able to work with, and just really neat to see what God is doing. So as we start here, we had hoped to have you on campus this year with us to celebrate IAMA's 50th year of mission aviation collaboration and partnership, along with Moody Aviation's 75th year. We're really excited that this June we're going to graduate the 75th graduating class from Moody Aviation. So we still get to celebrate God's faithfulness in the years of partnership of both organizations and collaboration with missions. And looking forward to inviting you next year to join us on campus here at Moody Aviation to see what God's been doing. Lord permitting, we'll be able to be live next year for IAMA 2022 here in Spokane, Washington at Moody Aviation. So mark your calendars, plot your course for next year's IAMA here in Spokane. Really look forward to sharing Moody Aviation with you. So I want to just take a little bit of time and share about what's been going on at Moody Aviation for the last year as we've all kind of processed COVID and the challenges that have come with it. It's been really a kind of an encouraging time to refocus in spite of the challenges. And we continue to exist to equip God's servants to advance the cause of Christ and world message, and really leveraging the tools of aviation. And over the last number of years, as we've met with our advisory committee, we've talked about the KSAs, the knowledge, skills, and attributes, and identified strengths and weaknesses of our program, strengths and weaknesses of our students coming in from culture. And one of the areas that's come out on a number of conversations is just in the attribute side of really desiring for our students to grow in perseverance and resilience. And so we've been praying, Lord, how can we develop things within our program to develop that? Well, God in his wisdom has brought some things about. And in Romans 5, verses 1 through 5, he says, therefore, having been justified by faith, we have peace with God through our Lord Jesus Christ, through whom we also have obtained our introduction by faith into this grace in which we stand. And we celebrate in hope and the glory of God. And not only this, but we also celebrate in our tribulations. Oh, that's hard to read, but it's true. We celebrate in our tribulations because knowing that tribulation brings about perseverance, and perseverance, proven character, and proven character, hope. And hope does not disappoint, because the love of God has been poured out within our hearts through the Holy Spirit who was given to us. And like it or not, character is built through tribulation, trials, challenges. And the Lord has brought a worldwide challenge really to develop the generations that are coming into adulthood, to build into them perseverance. Many things that we've been praying for, he's answering. And so I guess that you have to be careful what you pray for sometimes in that aspect. But in that whole process, we've had a lot of just conversations with our students and our staff about what does it mean to face trials. And so we've had opportunity to develop that, the A of the KSAs. Had opportunity last month to attend a conference sponsored by Tim Elmore called Leading When You Feel Like Leaving in the Midst of the Challenges. And because of the focus of the attributes of what we've been working on, I really want to just share some things that I've learned and that have been really encouraging for me as we've given us tools to work with our students in some of these areas. And Tim shared that as he was researching, found some studies based on John Tierney's work as he looked at what is the difference between post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, versus post-traumatic growth. And John Tierney was a researcher, and I think wrote the book Power of Good to Bad, really looked at the effects of trauma. And he studied the World War I shell shock aspect known as PTSD, and that while it can have long-lasting effects in some people, not all people who went through the same thing had the same effects. They did a lot of studies, and what does that, and they came up with a term called post-traumatic growth. And going through those sections of trauma, people can emerge stronger, kinder, wiser, more grateful, and show an increased appreciation for life, deeper relationships with others, and new perspectives about priorities and greater personal strength, or that resilience that we talk about. And one of the things from his book that he shared is that growth doesn't come from trauma, but from the way the person responds to it. These people suppress their negativity bias with an array of defenses that are available to everyone. They choose to become kinder, stronger, more mindful of their joys in life. And while negative experience triggers a stronger immediate emotional reaction than a positive experience, the negative emotions actually fade faster than the positive ones in most people. Repeated experiments with traumatized people prove this. They come into the lab and describe how they feel about recent events and later return to recall the same events. And by then, their feelings have diminished, especially among those who have repeatedly discussed their bad experience with others. Since the initial threat's over, they're prone to recognize the positive recovery has taken place. And in short, the more you talk about your problems, the more perspective you can gain to ease your anxieties. And that's why we feel it's therapeutic, is what he found. And as we think about this, even we have an amazing opportunity as instructors at Moody, as mission leaders, to be able to work with our teams, work with our people, to help them learn and grow through these times. But it really depends on our attitude through the process. And that's been something that we've been working with our team and just sharing of how can we have an attitude that reflects our King well, in spite of the challenges that we face around the world, and still be able to bring our students to a higher level of perseverance and post-traumatic growth. Tim Elmore brought out a study of Admiral James Bond Stockdale. He was the highest ranking officer who was captured as a POW during the Vietnam War, and for 7 years, he was isolated, he was tortured, he went through starvation, beatings, really, really challenging times. And his biography is very interesting to read. But through that time, he learned the difference between optimism and hope. And when Jim Collins interviewed Admiral Stockdale, he relayed in his book, Good to Great, a conversation that he had with Admiral Stockdale just about his coping strategy during the period of the Vietnamese POW camp. And Collins asked which prisoners didn't make it out of Vietnam. Stockdale replied, okay, well, that's easy. The optimists. They were the ones who said, we're going to be out by Christmas. And Christmas would come and Christmas would go. And then they'd say, we're going to be out by Easter. And Easter would come and then Easter would go. And Thanksgiving. And then it would be Christmas again. And eventually they died of a broken heart. This is a very important lesson. You must never confuse the faith that you will prevail in the end, which you can never afford to lose, with the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they may be. In this whole COVID process, we've had the opportunity to talk with students, talk with staff, and to face some of the brutal facts that, yeah, none of us like this. It's hard. And to be honest about them. But at the same time, to remember that we have a hope that goes beyond the situations that we face here on this earth. John C. Maxwell said in his book, where there is no hope in the future, there is no power in the present. And we, as believers, have a hope that is eternally secure. One of my favorite verses is Psalms 31:24. Be strong and let your heart take courage, all you whose hope is in the Lord. And our hope doesn't need to be placed in the situations that we face, the political security, the finances that are around us, whether we have to wear a mask or not. Our hope is in our King. And we have an opportunity to lead and walk and talk with our students as they process all this in some ways of engaging that we've not had for many years. And yes, while it's difficult, I am encouraged to see that God is answering prayers in the lives of our students and developing deep character, perseverance, and resilience. They still have room to grow, just like I do, but it's been fun in a positive way to walk through these challenging times with our students. Tim Elmore loves pictures, and he shared a picture of a flight attendant. And just thinking of what does a flight attendant represent to the passengers as they're on a flight. And for us as aviators, this is kind of a neat analogy, because when turbulence happens, which we know is out there, it's going to take place, people respond differently to that. But often the passengers can be calmed significantly when they look at the flight attendant and see their demeanor. Because passengers know whether to feel panic or peace on an airplane by looking at the flight attendant in turbulence. If the flight attendants are poised, the passengers can be too. And here's the insightful comment that Tim shared, is leaders must play this role. We have the opportunity in the midst of the challenges to remember that our hope is in the Lord, irrespective of the circumstances that we face. And we're going to get through this, and we're going to get through it together. And I love IAMA because of all the collaboration and things that are there, and we get to see what's going on around the world in the lives of people and the missions and how God's working. And it's a great reminder that God is at work around the world in spite of the challenges that we may face individually, as organizations, and even worldwide in this pandemic. Some of the things that Tim challenged us as leaders to bring out is just to say often that we're going to get through this. It will be okay. But also to be honest about the challenges that we face. And this was a really insightful example that he brought out as well, is in 1635, when Isaac Newton was a college student, Cambridge University went through the Great Plague, and they sent all the students home. None of them wanted to go home, I'm sure. They've had challenges to face just as we do. But Isaac said, this is my chance that he could study whatever he wanted to study. And during that quarantine, he came up with the study of calculus and developed many of the theorems that go with that today. He also looked at light and prisms and developed many theories on optics. And it's time when he observed the apple falling from the tree and came up with the laws of gravity and the laws of motion that we know today. So in spite of that challenging time, he responded in a way which made the most of the time that he had. And within 1 year after returning, still really as finishing his role as a student, he was made a full professor at Cambridge University. So in spite of the challenges, amazing things can happen. And that's what I'm really excited to share about with you, of what God's been doing at Moody Aviation. That in spite of the fact that for 7 weeks last March and in the spring, we had to shut down all of our maintenance labs and the flight training due to the COVID protocols. We found out what do we need to do to abide by the CDC requirements and the Washington requirements, and be able to care for our team appropriately as it affected all of our organizations. And that put us behind significantly. It was a challenge. Thankfully, with challenges, it really brings the opportunity to share God's faithfulness. And that's what I want to be able to do is just to share how God continues to be at work. As I've shared already in the lives of our students, as they're walking through this time of challenge, and we have the opportunity to work with them as faculty, as our student services builds a relationship with our students, we see the character developing within the lives of students as they face and wrestle with difficult issues. And God is using this time and process to mature them in their faith, as they grow deeper in their relationship with Him, and to mature them simply as individuals, interacting with one another and in the face of this world. Recognizing that they can't control all the situations in which they may face. We've been excited that through COVID, with the technology that we even get to enjoy today, it's provided the opportunity to extend our classroom literally around the world through hybrid or high flex courses, and we can share our ground training that we have in person with our students, with people literally around the world. I'm teaching a class right now that we have students joining us live from Brazil, from Asia, Indonesia, numerous states across the US, along with the people who are seated in the classroom live. So synchronously, we have the ability to have speakers come and join us from Canada, from Africa, various mission headquarters here in the US. And it's really been exciting just to see the ability of collaboration that the technology has given to make that possible, and to build relationships for our students with missions and people who are overseas right now in some ways that we've not been able to do before. The new simulators that we have allowed us to continue operating even with some social distancing as we were gearing back up. And even more importantly, we can start flying in January here in Spokane now in the low weather. And by the time the students work through an initial 16-hour, 20-hour course in the simulators, the weather's clearing and they can start flying. And really, really excited to see how that's even helped save our students. Literally, I think the average on the first round through was saved about $4,000 per student to attain their private pilot certification. And allowed them, I think, even to be a higher level of proficiency because of the ability to practice and pause the simulator and talk about what's going on, the things that they don't understand, so their processor can actually take in what's going on when they get in the airplane. Been really exciting. As we're deploying the new curriculum, we have built into that some additional margin for our students as they walk through the program in different sections, and our staff as well. We have our students even this week, a number of them are on spring break, which that's exciting for us because we've not been able to have a spring break for many years in that aspect. And we're looking forward to the development and deployment of some alternate majors that might be able to serve missions based on some new technology that's available out there. And Glenn's already even shared some things about technology and how that can help missions. And we're excited as Moody Aviation to train and equip our students in ways that we've not been able to before because of technology that's developing to be able to better serve missions in the long run. We have at least 9 graduates that I'm aware of right now that are in process in various stages with missions of application, of orientation, of fundraising, language schools, going out to serve in overseas missions. And we're just thrilled to be able to see that. As we look at the last 2 incoming classes, even in spite of COVID, the numbers of our incoming students are increasing. And at this point, compared to years past, we're more than 3 times ahead of what the normal application rate is to Moody Aviation, and really looking forward to bringing the fall 2021 class in to equip young men and women with a heart to serve the Lord for mission aviation, and look forward to connecting them with you as they go through the program. And one of the ways that God often demonstrates his faithfulness is through finances. And I just felt this is something that just totally demonstrates God's faithfulness, and wanted to share it with you. We started off this year, our 75th year, with two goals on the financial side. And as COVID came about, it's like, well, how is this even going to be possible? We don't know, but God is showing up in some amazing ways. And I just want to share his faithfulness. So at the end of our February closing, our goal for the year was to raise $400,000 operational funding for Moody Aviation. And we're at 93% of funds that have come in. There's some other funds that have been pledged for some matching donations, and if they materialize, then that will put us over our 100% goal, which is amazing in the midst of COVID. Our second goal was really to raise $1 million of financial aid for our students to be able to give away in the upcoming year. And this is something we want to do every year if the Lord would bless in such a way. And that's a big goal, bigger than any of us. But we have a God who's bigger than any of our goals. And so again, at the end of February, we're at about 35%, but there are some matching funds that are in process. And if they materialize, then hopefully within the next month, God would be bringing us to almost 70% of our goal. Which again is just, wow, Lord, you are amazing. In the midst of COVID, when people are facing challenging financial times, this is just an amazing demonstration of his faithfulness. And so I would just ask that you be praying with us, that God would continue to demonstrate his faithfulness, and that we'd be able to raise these funds, really that he would provide the funds, and as a means of demonstrating his faithfulness to the students who want to be able to serve in missions and be able to do so debt-free. And if you have questions or want to even participate in helping us to reach this goal, send me an email at jim.conrad@moody.edu, and I'd be glad to give you some instructions of how to do that. One of my favorite verses is Hebrews 10:23. Let us hold fast the confession of our hope without wavering, for he who promised is faithful. And I'm convinced that Moody Aviation stands as a testimony of God's faithfulness, and excited to see what he is doing through the lives of our students, through our graduates who are partnering with you as missions around the world, and really grateful for the opportunity to share what he continues to do to demonstrate himself faithful through Moody Aviation. And if you have people or who may be transitioning back to the States for some reason, we're looking for maintenance instructors to be able to invest in our students, as well as flight instructors and some seasoned production mechanics. Pass them our way. We'd love to talk with them and see if Moody Aviation might be a fit to allow them to be able to invest in the next generation. And really looking forward to inviting you here to be with us on campus at Moody Aviation next year. Tentative dates, and Lord willing that COVID permits and other pandemics don't get in the way. But look forward to just sharing the 75 years of ministry of Moody Aviation and 50 plus years of IAMA in person next year in 2022, if the Lord is willing. So thanks for the opportunity to share about a little bit about what God's doing at Moody Aviation. And Glenn, really grateful for this opportunity to be able to be together with you here.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. I think we're both live here again. Is that good?
I believe so.
Okay, all right. So yeah, I'm looking forward to being with you guys again next March. And can't say enough about how you guys have supported us on this one, but just really looking forward to that, and excited about getting out and seeing you guys out there again.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to having you with us. And as I understand, maybe even by that time, I'd like to say congratulations in person, because I understand that you have a wedding pretty soon in front of us. Is that right?
Well, yeah, I guess you could say that. We're, 22 days away, April 10th, just 3 weeks from Saturday. So the Lord has provided a wonderful helpmate for me. And we're just really excited about the thing that's coming up for us. So I'm sure the Lord's got great things in store. And, I'm with you on 2020. I was so amazed at how I saw God show up and the things that happened. Yeah, I met a lady and I'm getting married, but there was so much more than that I really saw God's hand working even in all this COVID stuff. And, it's just really exciting to know that, hey, we need to be reminded God is still on the throne. God is still in control, and he's got it. And he's watching out over all of it. And ministry is still going on. And I'd just like to close our time together in prayer, unless you got something else you need to share, Jim.
Nope. No, I was just going to suggest that we pray as well. So
yeah. I'm always asking other people, and I'm going to be the one to close in prayer this time. So, Lord, I just want to thank you for the virtual opportunity we had to join together during these 2 days. The new stuff you've brought to us, the new people we've met, the new organizations, the new projects, the updates on how things are going. And we can really see your hand leading. We know that you are still at work throughout our world. You haven't quit loving us. You haven't stopped. And I just thank you for all that you're doing. Lord, bless all these guys that are attending, that you will just continue to guide and direct in their ministries as we all seek to serve you. And we ask this in your holy name. Amen. And we'll see you guys in the future. Thank you for joining.
Thanks, Glenn.